And I wrote that on here, but it's gone now. What you said with the last guy was so good. Um, that it's not the end of, oh God, I can't, how can I get to that? Can I minimize you? No.
No.
Do you see my writing?
Oh, hang on, let me
Oh.
read it out. Oh, I see when you said, "Can I minimize you?" No, you just go. Oh yeah, how do you do that? Oh, here we go. Here you go. You click the message thing. There's no end to this, but there seems to be a point that makes the collapse. Cool. Oh, it's exactly the same for me. Where is it?
Okay, you said there's no end to this. It
Yeah,
just keeps, but like my girlfriend Phoebe, who's actually got, this has happened to her. There is a collapse
yeah.
where it's maybe not an end, but it's something where you finally realize that there's no one here.
Yeah. It can be many different ways. It can be an energetic thing, or it can be an intellectual thing. But this still carries on, and the body mind mechanism's still gonna change loads, and like the body mind mechanism's still gonna carry on growing and changing and forming. And I think after that collapse, then the body mind mechanism still goes on reconditioning itself, maybe to become a more functional human being, but it's not somebody's goal anymore. It doesn't matter.
Right. And
So
when you
that
talk,
so it's
oh,
never ending, and I think some people call it refinement, but I wouldn't call it anything like that. It's just that um, you can't ever stop conditioning the body. So say now, if there was a big explosion in my parents' house, say I left the gas on and there was a big explosion, then after that there will be there'll be a new conditioning that will have risen, and then there will be a deconditioning of that, because that's the way life goes. It sets things up and then dismantles them.
right. But after the collapse, it's not a big deal
No,
anymore.
it's not personal anymore.
Right. It's not
But
personal. And you're not still, I won't
yeah,
still be
but uh, but
seeking.
but also like we don't know how this happens. We don't know what happens when this body dies. It might start all over again. So
Oh, Jesus.
I wouldn't get too excited about the collapse.
What?
Like
I
it's
can't.
like it's an easy thing to get fixated on. Like who is it that wants to be there? Who is it that loves the story of your friend of the collapse?
Mm.
It's just another position, and every position that you get, life will undo it. Even after that supposed collapse happens, there will then be a new position of, oh, you've got to be careful of the gas in houses, and then it will undo that idea. Or there'll be an idea of every time you go to do this or something, you've got to have it like that, and then there'll be an undoing of that idea. The body is always undoing its conditioning and then doing its conditioning up.
Oh, God.
It's impossible. That's the way life flows. It's just not personal. It's not happening for someone. But
Gosh, it
I
seems.
wouldn't get too excited about this place of the collapse. Like everyone gets that obsession and gets that arrogance, and then it even goes through the arrogance of then including this body mind mechanism of then it's like it then wants to declare its finality. And
Yeah.
why do you think it wants to do that?
Well, for this one is because it doesn't want to keep seeking
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah,
I have I put my iPhone with earplugs in every night, either listening to you
yeah,
or
yeah.
Rupert,
Spira.
you know, yeah, Spira or whoever.
Yeah.
Eckert puts me out in no time.
Yeah, you used to put me out well as well. I can't. Actually, the
If I
reason
only put
I
a cigarette and
I
put Eckert
post
in, I'm out in 5 minutes. I don't even think I can see 5 minutes.
I posted Rupert the other day because in the middle of the night I woke up. Maybe I had jet lag or I don't know, maybe I'd been traveling. I can't remember what I'd been doing. And I woke up and I couldn't sleep. And I was like, and it suggested on my YouTube channel. And I put it on for 10 minutes. And it was such a brilliant talk. It got me really excited. But then after 10
Yeah,
minutes, I was like,
and you shared it.
yeah, but I shared it because I woke up the next day and I was like, oh my God, I hadn't listened to Rupert in ages. And it was so beautiful what he did. And I didn't listen to the whole thing. It was just 10 minutes of it before I fell asleep. But it was really, really beautiful. He did this whole thing about infinity, the finite, and the infinite.
Yes,
And oh, it was stunning.
yes, I've listened to it like 3
Oh
times.
my God, it was just, it was like, it was like a painting, like a painting in a museum. It was the most finest piece of art, the way he spoke in those.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was the first 10 minutes or the middle of the video or where it was, but he just kept us about how the finite could never see the infinite and kept moving between, and it was just really beautiful the way he did it. But anyway, we weren't talking about that. We were talking about the one that wants to be definite, that there's a place of it going. And then because the reason that it wants to do that is because it wants to have some certainty, and even people that say it. So then you'll notice that people, when they've woken up, they'll want to have an adamancy, like an adamantness that that's the end. But who would want to say that? And then who's attracted to people saying that?
Oh boy.
It never ends, any of this. It's always
Oh,
moving, it's always moving. But what's going to begin to happen, Laurie, is that brain is going to just stop resisting the movement. And it's happening more and more, Laurie, the more and more I talk to you. And you've just had maybe a bit of a difficult one where you've popped and you've had this big awakening, and then there's been it seep back in again. And that's a painful thing to experience, but you're going to even get tired of that movement. The person will get
yes.
more and more tired of any position,
Ah.
any position. There will just be movement left.
Well, I'm realizing, like right now, it's Christmas. There's so much shit to do, and sometimes I'm finding myself just pacing. Like I don't know what to do, where to go. I have no direction lately. It's so messed up. But then all of a sudden, I'll have a burst of, and everything will be done. Boom,
Yeah.
done. What?
But you don't, that it feels like that's the problem, the direction. The problem is the identity with the one that feels directionless. It's the movement inwards, so that the energy's gone into I have no direction. And then it feels like that is solely who you are, rather than there just being everything. And then it's uncomfortable. But there can be a movement back to everything, and still the body has no direction and is not doing its work that it's meant to be doing. And still frustration, but it's no longer you. There is just this movement of this Laurie character that's not functioning well at the moment, or is functioning too much, or feeling frustration. But it's all appearing in this for nobody. You aren't that person that feels like it's directionless. You aren't that person that had the awakening. You are everything. You've always been awoken, Laurie.
Oh,
You've always
to
been
know,
all of it. It's
to
just the
hear
energy
that.
keeps going back into this narrow person. And that might have been what's been happening since the Big Bang. Is there's been dreams appearing of being a body-mind mechanism experiencing this that's, well, maybe not since the Big Bang, but since humans begun to speak. Before that, maybe you
Which
were a
is
rock
what?
for a million years.
So the once they started to speak is when it got dumbed down into this body.
Yeah, it couldn't have happened, this separation, without the speaking and the thinking. It started to think, and the first thoughts was, the emotion be described its environment, and then it had to describe that which was experiencing the environment. And then it began to make up this lie, because it was never that which was experiencing this environment. But it began to make up this lie of I'm experiencing it, whereas the body is just a tool to experience. And then it began to, I'm experiencing this, I'm living a life.
So when you realize this, when the collapse happens, does all of that knowledge just come to you? Does all
Well,
of that knowledge just appear? What you just said about all the past?
mm, well, no, because most of the time I don't think about this stuff. It's just when in the moment appears, it's like knowing, I mean, how do you know how to bake a cake in the moment? You could in one way say, well, it's because of everything that
Oh, the
came
recipe.
before. Well, I was thinking more because your mum taught you or something, or something happened in the past. You could say, following a recipe. You could say because of everything. You know how to, and you could say because of everything, you know how to cook, bake the cake.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like or how to ride a bike. In one way it's spontaneously happening, but in another way it's because everything that's ever happened and everything that's going to happen. You can answer it lots of different ways. So there's not really somebody here that retains knowledge, although the brain has a certain functioning, but the brain isn't separate from everything else that's ever happened. The brain is dependent on all the other flow of things. And then in this moment, it just spontaneously appears out of nowhere. In this moment, there's no brain, there's no Lisa, there's no you, there's just all this mass experiencing happening.
That is such a stretch. My God. My mind, when I get off with you, is like swirling. It's
Well, how now are you? How now? I like that. How now?
oh no, brown guy.
How are you? I have to put in that because otherwise I'm going to get stuck on how now. How are you beating the heart?
I am not.
But you could say like the heart. You could like look at it as a progression, like the heart grew, and putting the food in the body sustain the heart. Like so the heart is dependent on everything that's ever happened. So the functioning of the heart is dependent on everything. And its functioning, its outproduct, the pumping of the blood is spontaneously happening now, but it's dependent on everything. It's dependent on your parents making love, it's dependent on the growth, the food that's put into the body, the circulation of the blood, it's dependent on the cells, it's dependent on the air externally, it's dependent on everything. But in our, I forgot where I was going with that. Brain freeze.
I am so glad I'm not the only one that does that.
I do it all the time.
I know, I get so much crap for it.
But that's exactly how the brain's functioning. It's just like the heart, but
like
we take it personally. The brain, we take thoughts personally.
Right.
We take that action, that activity. Although the brain and the heart really, I mean, there's no brain really. Just putting it in limited language.
There's no brain really. Oh God.
Oh, sorry, I went too far.
sorry. Like the hand, it's moving through this. Well, like, okay, that didn't fly. That still doesn't make sense to me, but whatever. Ah. Okay. I guess that's it.
Well, considering I didn't feel like talking tonight, I've done a hell of a lot of talking.
Yeah.
You can't. We really anything we ever say about anything. It's like I'm sat there, I'm like, oh, I really don't feel like talking, and then.
Yes.
There's no position or anything. It just becomes hilariously funny what this body-mind mechanism does. It's like sex. You go to bed and you're like, no sex tonight, and before you know it, you're bonking like crazy. Like, I'm too tired. I have a headache. Oh, okay, that's what we're doing.
Oh, okay. God, I am hoping I'm gonna get to see you in January or February.
That would be lovely in New York. I'm only there for I'm only doing one talk in New York, but we can go for dinner. Perch is going to take me to a show. You're more than welcome to come to the show.
We saw Wicked in September on Broadway.
Oh my God, Wicked is so good. It's such a good musical. I cried my eyes out at that one.
It was so brilliant the way it was written.
Yeah, really good. And really nice twist on it. Like nothing's ever wicked. You
Right.
never get the bad character, the wicked witch of the West, and then it's so explainable. You're like, that's how that happened.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly. I was like, oh my gosh, of course. Oh, I'd love to see it because the first time you don't really. It's better when you see something the second time.
Yeah. Oh,
'Cause
well, if you come, that's what we're going to see. We'll see Wicked again. Is it still on in Broadway? I'm sure
I
it
would
still is. It's
imagine it was there
fantastic.
in September.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's really good.
I would
And
like to
hopefully
see
it'll
it.
be snowing. Be so much
Oh,
fun if it's
Jesus,
snowing.
no!
You don't like the snow? Oh, you got snow there already.
I live in Maine.
And
We have
that's
actually it's been pouring all day today, thank God. So the snow has gone down a lot.
how
But
many
we would have
months of snow do you get?
oh God, we get buried. But this year we have not we've had some before Thanksgiving and then that was completely gone. Now we had some last week and now that's close to gone. We probably had 10 inches, but it's probably down to oh gosh, it's probably down to 4 inches now. But
Oh,
today could have been another foot if this it rained hard today. If a little bit warm, cooler, and we would have had all snow today.
wow.
So I'm feeling very blessed.
So you basically just can't go out of the house a lot of the time in the winter.
Well, I can't say a lot of the time because they clear it away. You know, it's not. It's
They're used to it.
it's all. Yes, we're totally used to it here. It's not like the place shuts down.
Yeah.
But you know, when it's really bad, when we have a northeaster, they just you know
Yeah.
they urge everybody to stay in at the height of it. But you still have to go to work if you work, you know.
Yeah. You still have to crawl through the snow in some way.
And pray that you don't go off the road or somebody else doesn't hit you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Khaleesi's never seen the snow.
Oh, she would love it.
Yeah, I think she would. She would
Yeah,
be
they.
absolutely mystified by it at first.
Yeah. Oh, yes, definitely.
She's seen frost and things on the ground, like, when it's like a thick layer of frost, almost like
Yeah,
snow.
but 6 to 8 inches of snow and jumping in it. Oh, she would love it. Throwing
Yeah.
it up in there, throwing her snowballs and catching them in her mouth. I can picture her having a blast. So she flies with you? No.
No, she's only ever flown on 3 planes from Thailand back to the UK. No, I travel with her by car mostly because when I go outside of Europe, I find someone to look after her. But when I'm in Europe, then I try to just drive with her everywhere.
Right.
Because I think it's a little hard for me also to do the flying because then when I get to the other side, I've got her big case to carry, and we go to a hotel by taxi. So it's
Right.
it's much easier if I've got my car because then I don't need a case, and she can stay in the car when I'm doing talks. It's like a
Right.
little home for us,
Mm, yeah.
my little car. But she's very cute in the car. I should take some pictures and put it on Facebook. She's very cute. I've got this cute little video of her when I have my old Polo, and she'd sit in the boot, and she has these ears. When you watch this back, you'll see it. But she has these ears in the car, so she normally has really erect ears and really high ears. And when she's in
Yeah.
the car, they kind of go halfway down, and she stares out at people. And other people get so excited when they see her because she looks so cute. You see people just waving randomly in other cars at her. Yeah.
Waving at the dog.
Yeah, and then you can see them pulling little faces, and I'm looking in my mirror so I can see them all doing these things to her. And she just looks at them like,
So she's not your passenger then.
no, well, I did put her in the boot, but then somebody hit me in the boot, and she's now a little traumatized by being in the boot.
What the hell's the boot?
Oh, the back bit.
The
You know,
back seat?
no, behind the back seat, the boot, the trunk,
The trunk.
yeah.
The trunk.
Like the trunk
Ah.
has like you can take off the lid, and then she can still look out of the window, but it's nice contained area for her because I have a little car, so it's just a tiny little trunk. But then this guy slid and hit me when she was in the trunk, and I was hilarious the way I reacted because I jumped out and I was like, "My dog!" And I got round and I didn't even give a shit if the car was dented. It's only 6 months old at this point or something. And I was just like, "My dog," which most probably traumatized her even more. And I lifted up the trunk and she was fine. The car was fine as well, but she now doesn't like going in the trunk. So she now sits in the back seat. And she just sits and pokes me. She sits behind me and then pokes me every so often with her nose. And then I turn my head round, she gives me a little lick. She's so cute.
Oh, so she has quite the memory.
Yeah, well, yeah. She's definitely traumatized by being in the boot, the trunk. because it was
And
quite
whatever
a
happened to
slam.
her.
But she knows, she associates that crunching with the trunk. And then also I traumatize, rather than being a nice, enlightened, calm person, I was like, my dog!
So she felt all that
So
energy
she
on her.
felt that trauma as well. I imagine getting around there and being a squished Khaleesi.
Oh, right.
So, because
Yeah.
it was one hell of a whack, but it's a strong car.
Oh, so you didn't have any effects from it?
Oh, well, now I don't put her in the trunk.
No, 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 no. You from that smash. No
Oh,
neck.
no, no. No, it was just sound more than anything, actually. And it sent us forward, but I was in with a friend, but it didn't hurt me at all or anything. I've had other ones that have hurt me, but
Oh,
no. But no, it was just. So now I don't put her in the trunk, though, after that.
yeah. Right. Oh.
Squished
Yeah, but
doggy.
she's remembered like the trauma apparently when she was small.
Yeah? Oh, yeah.
Be-
But I see it as a bodily memory, like it's
Oh,
like the body remembered to suck the nipples of the mother. It's not like a personal thing, it's just a memory appearing. Like this body's still traumatized by certain things.
mm,
By
the airplane.
yeah, the aeroplane. Well, I've never yeah, by the aeroplane. I'm trying to think of better examples than the aeroplane because the aeroplane well, the first time I went in the aeroplane my mum um like freaked out, so that was when I was about 10. So that was
Oh,
the first experience. So yeah, things like that, and I'm just things that I'm afraid of. Can't remember them now though.
it does get passed on from the parents. If they freak out when you're young about something, it
Carries on, yeah. And it's the same what I do to Khaleesi. I teach her. Um, she's always watching me for clues of how to react, and I'm not always teaching her because I'm not thinking about it. The correct reaction in the
right,
situation. Like I noticed that because she's not always friendly. If I see her going too close to a young toddler or something, then my body responds, and I've noticed that that's encouraged her to be less friendly to because she
because
sees me reacting, and then she thinks, yes, this is a problem. But
right,
it's like I'm conditioned, and I just can't help it. My body just goes every time she's going towards a toddler. I'm like, danger, danger.
right. Have you ever heard of the Caesar Milan?
Yeah,
The
I haven't. I really, really like him, but I don't think it's right for a fearful dog.
oh,
I did use it for a lot, and even he says fearful dogs are the hardest ones to rehabilitate. He's really good, I think, with aggressive dogs. My dog's actually, even though she responds with aggression, she's actually fearful. And I did for a while do what he says, but
yeah,
then my friend started picking up and cuddling her when she was afraid, and he says don't do that, and it actually worked really well. And so I've now taken to when she's beginning to get aggressive towards a human, and Caesar says do not do this under any circumstance. So when she's getting aggressive towards a human, I pick her up in my arms and I just whisper to her and stroke her, and she does wonders. She goes really limp and relaxed. But
really?
that's the opposite to what he says. But I think he's really good with with dominant aggressive dogs, whereas she's a traumatized, scared dog, really. And so I just
Right,
scare her more by being over dominant in those
right,
situations.
right. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. But for
And yet,
years, for a year or year and a half, I was doing what he was saying. And then when my friend did that, I was like, oh man, that's
uh,
so much better. Actually, that would have been my natural response if I hadn't watched teaser.
right, right. But you can tell what he's saying. Don't ever do if because the dog could bite you if you go to.
Yeah. Oh, not me. No, Khaleesi doesn't bite, but he says don't ever pick her up because he says that that's like reinforcing the behavior and saying to her that she's a good girl for growling and barking.
Oh,
But what we find happens is it just totally relaxes her. And she's already conditioned to respond. And the more that we we try and like do it by dominance, the more and more she gets uptight and agitated.
Right.
So we do this, and she just goes limp like a baby.
So you're basically giving her love.
Yeah, physical love. Like
Yeah.
Caesar, like always says to do the other stuff out of love as well, like not to do it out of anger. Like I really
Right.
like the way he speaks, and most of the time I would agree. But in her case, I think that she just needs a bit of sweetness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and so many people dislike her because she's, I've like if you come to stay, people will tolerate the story that she's a rescue from Thailand for a little while, and then they begin to get offended by her not being nice to her.
Mm-hmm.
So then she has to deal with that energy. Like they can't help it. They begin to feel rejected by her. So then they're like, not nice dog. And you're like,
Right.
oh.
Uh, well, how is she with Paul?
Oh, she's good now, but she's known Paul a long time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
most people, when she first meets them, she struggles to form a relationship. But that's very typical of street dogs.
Yeah.
To,
Yeah.
to
I'm sure they're very leery of, because they've been abused. I'm sure.
and they're also they're more feral genetically, so they're moving away from
Right.
humans.
Right.
We've bred them to be more human friendly.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yep. I
she's
have that feral
so
cat.
you've got feral cats.
Well, I did, and
Yeah.
the one that died, the one I had to put down in June, she was feral. I mean, well, she was born in a feral cat, but my cousin brought her in at 3. Her eyes, there were 5 of them. Their eyes weren't even open yet, and they were held and bottle fed for. So we thought, oh, good, we'll have very cuddly cats.
No,
Nope.
it's very
When they got
genetic.
older,
Yeah.
yeah, when they got older, you. I mean, she was loving on her terms, but I could not pick her up. She was petrified when I
Yeah.
picked her
Yeah.
up. Claws would come out. But
And I
other
think
than
this
that,
is a very genetic thing. If they've been bred on the streets, then they're going to have more the tendency to be away from humans.
right.
But it's not like a we look at it as they don't like us. I see Khaleesi as so respecting of humans,
Yes, the same
and
with mine.
yeah,
She was the same way. She was very. But then I have this other cat who was born in a barn. He's a feral cat too. He was. We
and he's
found him
really
in a.
friendly.
Oh my God! He's like a baby.
Oh,
I carry him like a baby on his
oh,
neck. Totally trusting. He's yeah.
yeah.
It's a complete opposite.
Yeah, you really can't tell, can you?
No, you can't. No.
So individual.
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
well,
it's
lovely
nice
to talk
talking
to
with
you.
you as
Yes,
always.
yeah, we went off quite a bit towards the end, but
We did. Oh
lovely.
well.
And thanks for offering to read the emails. Maybe next time, Sunday or
Okay.
next Wednesday.
Yeah, next Wednesday. Yeah, Sunday I have a Christmas party. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And maybe
3
it's
different.
Christmas Day next Wednesday as well.
Thursday.
Thursday. Okay, so Christmas Eve, maybe. We'll see.
Chris-
Sometime soon you can read out the
Oh,
questions.
that's right. Christmas Eve. Damn. That's my husband's birthday.
Uh,
Plus we have my mom and dad's Christmas with my kids and yeah, that's gonna be out.
okay, the week after that then.
The week after I'll be here.
Great.
All
Thanks,
right,
Laurie. Bye.
Thank you. Love you,
Bye.
Lise.
Love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.